Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Create and Relate. It's your baby boomer, Kitty Lane, from the Peninsula in Virginia. I have lost my needle. It's your baby boomer, Kitty Lane, from the Peninsula in Virginia. I have lost my needle. It's your baby boomer, Kitty Lane. Okay, let's try this. There we go. I have lost a whole needle. Wow. And I know it's probably up under me. I found my needle. Hi, Michelle. Yes, I found it. I had found it at my needle. So, quick update. It's day 5 for this project and should be on scheme 5, but not because y'all know me and my ideas, how things change in my mind. And this is the decision that I made. So, of course, I'm going around with the granny squares that I loathe. But this is being made with love, so that makes it so much easier to do. This has a purpose, it has a home, and the home it's going to has no idea. They have no idea. But it's I think it's working up absolutely beautifully. I love the fact that as mindless as the moss stitch is, I mindfully kept up with my measurements so that I could do what needed to be done. This, I think, is absolutely beautiful. And if it were purple, it'd be staying home. So, how is everyone? How's your day going? I slept last night, but I didn't sleep very long. Um, of course, I do a lot of bathroom runs during the night. And the one that I took, um, which was around 2:30ish, I think it was 2:38 if I'm not mistaken. I just never could go back to sleep from it. So about an hour ago, I was like this. I am working to get everything done. Michelle, bless your heart. I want to myself give you a week off. I do just a Michelle week off because you work hard, sister. You do. You work hard. Yes. I wanted to talk about a few things today, actually. One good thing, medical update. Insurance became active today. I made sure everything was activated, turned on, got all of my appointments straightened up. So everything should be an easy transition from here. I have heard that Anthem is a lot better to work with than United Healthcare. And that's very good to hear as far as the upcoming surgery. I've had to push that date back until June with my surgeon. So That caused a lot of other things to be pushed back. Because the way I look at it, if I go see him in June, and even if he schedules the surgery in June, it would be at least 2 weeks out. So we would be looking at like the end of June. It takes at least 6 weeks to be able to get up and about like I would want to. The family reunion is the first weekend in August, which would be 5 weeks later, not 6 weeks. And I don't want to go out of state and be in a situation where I find myself in trouble. So I'm going to forego the family reunion this year. Boo and who. Okay, we're over that. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but hey, I love me too. So it took me a long time to get to this point, but I'm here. I'm here. And I wish that I could get everybody here. Love on yourself. We're looking at go find the biggest mirror you have in your house. Take all the clutter from in front of it. Look at you and just give yourself a big hug. Tell yourself how beautiful you are. Doesn't matter if anybody else sees it or not. It only matters that you see it. It only matters that you feel it. It only matters that you know it. Own it. Own it. You don't have to look like these chicks on the magazine cover. No. And some magazines nowadays have us on it. And I mean the big healthy girls. Okay? So be big, be healthy, be proud, be happy. Love on you. Love on you. I have an offset face and I have a huge nose. Was teased about it all my life. And when I was 53 years old, I met one of my brothers and my sister. My sister had this little petite nose, bless her heart. But my brother and I look like twins. And so do my niece and nephew from my brother. And it's like seeing the pictures of my father. I never had a chance to meet him. And seeing how much I look like him, I'm like, psh. And he was handsome. My brother is handsome. My sister was absolutely beautiful. And I looked like them. Hello, Emerson. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm talking about self love. I told everybody your challenge for today is to get in front of the biggest mirror you have in your house, remove all the clutter, and hug yourself and tell yourself how beautiful you are. That's what I want you to do today. Okay? Okay. So, funny thing is, I wrote all of my notes in the description section. But I think I remember what I want to talk about. I don't know if you all saw my last video. That is the results, the current results. I'm still working on it. Of my tutoring sessions with Michelle of Yes, Michelle Crochets. I will sing it to the mountaintops. If you need help with direction, if you need help with starting a channel, if you need any kind of help whatsoever, she is the one to go to. She will not beat you in the head with prices. It's affordable and it's worth it. It is so, so, so worth every single penny, every single second. Me, I'm one of those. I'm always in the starter's block. And I always hear that gun go off and I'm ready to sprint. And she's told me more than a few times, stop sprinting. So I've had to step back a few times. There were a lot of tears, but not tears from her. It's tears because I've had to reconstruct myself. I had to sit back and say, hey, I need to slow down, put one foot in front of the other, and do this the right way. And she recognizes what you need. And she gives you the tools that you need to move forward. That video, that video caused more tears because I could not figure out how to put the components together. And I sat there and I clicked buttons and I clicked buttons and I clicked buttons until I finally figured it out. And it's because I was given the tools to figure it out. I am quite pleased with it. I know that there's some things that need to be changed about it. That's okay. I didn't only put my foot in the water. I jumped in and went for a little swim. And I'm proud of that. I am so proud of that. So from the bottom of my heart, from the depths of my soul, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Huh. My heart is fluttering. Again, I want to remind you all of the video star of the week, who is Miss C, who I call Mama Diana, of Miss C's Cottage. If you've never gone over there, I am proud of myself, Emily. But you'd have to know my journey with this editing thing. And first of all, I didn't get my first computer until 1999. And it was given to me by a guy that I call my brother. And it was always serviced. I used to drive cab. And this was one of the men that I drove cab with. I drove with 3 other men. One I called daddy, the other 2 I called my brothers. And whenever my computer needed to be serviced, it was serviced by my boobala. And he would always come over and computer talk to me, but I never understood what each component was. And as much as I asked him, it was the wrong time to ask him. He had elected to go back to school, and he was very much into his studies. So to break everything down for me at that time was not the right time for him. I didn't get upset with him. I just tried to absorb as much as I could. On Mondays, we would go out to lunch to this beautiful, it was actually a policeman's restaurant. But because the guys were so buddy-buddy with the police officers, and I, having had experience working at 7-Eleven, I knew a lot of the police officers. We were invited to go there for lunch every Monday. We would always have the pork chop, like pork chop, mashed potato, pork chop, candy yams, and collard greens with a large sweet tea. Talking about clogged arteries, it's okay. It was only once a week. So with that, I picked up a little bit. I wanted to venture out and get a laptop. And I was able to take some of the knowledge that I learned from them to figure out what type of laptop I needed. So my first laptop purchase was the best computer I ever had. It was a Dell. It had all the space that I needed. I, at that time, wanted to play games on my computer. So it was perfect for what I needed. This was probably 2000, I would say 2005, 2006. So I understood what my computer could do. And I'd fiddle around with it and play with it until I got it to do what I wanted to do. Well, fast forwarding 20 years later, here we are. And I did not know how to connect the dots between the new Chromebook and YouTube. I could make shorts, no problem. I knew how to edit shorts because I could edit them in my photos and in my Google photos. I could edit those. I knew how to edit a little bit from being on Instagram and doing the little Instagram reels or whatever they were called. But I knew how to edit a little bit there, but it's different here, kind of. I wanted to use YouTube for everything, and I had to go to an outside source that allowed me to be creative. But using that outside source to me is like putting a blank canvas in front, and I have to learn which buttons do this, which components do that. And like I said, once I was put in the right direction, I am so happy with I'm so happy with the turnout. And I'm equally happy with how this is turning out. So a couple of the other things that I wanted to talk about, okay, that was the changes. Please don't forget that the auctions are going to be every second and fourth Saturday. Pretty much right now we have the same things. We are going to have a couple of more items that will be added to it, of course. Oh, the other thing, this is what I was really excited about. And this was probably one of the reasons that I couldn't sleep last night, because I came up with another idea. I want to have what I call, I know this doesn't make any sense to you whatsoever, but I want to have what I call Maker's Bingo. And what I'm going to do is make a certain amount of bingo cards. I'm going to hook up my printer and I'm going to make a certain amount of bingo cards. The bingo cards themselves will be $5 a card. And even though I've seen this, kind of like this, but it's $5 a card. You get a bingo card. There are 25 spaces, of course, on the card. The free space that you get in the middle is not exactly a free space. It will always say subscribe to one channel. And that's just so that we can help each other out in this community. So, I mean, if you purchase, say, 5 cards, you only have to subscribe to one channel. Now, if you feel inclined to subscribe to 5 channels, by all means. But and then there are things like, to give you some of the ideas, the biggest thing I have on the bingo card itself is the swaddle blanket, which is a 40 by 40 blanket. But it can be made with any yarn, any hook, any color, any stitch. You're pretty much free to do whatever you want to do, whatever is on that card. It's like hat, scarf, washcloth, 5-piece coaster set, hot pad. I mean, they're really, really small, simple items, and it's basically for instant gratification. So it would last, even though they're 25 items. I understand that people are busy, and it's something to keep us busy during the summer, because a lot of us don't like to work on big items during the summer. Me, I am cut from a different cloth. That's when I do my best work. My best work usually starts around March Madness, and then it continues on until like the end of August, the beginning of September. That's usually when I slow down. But I like the idea of instant gratification sometimes, not typically, but sometimes. And I hear that a lot of other people do as well. So what I was thinking about was, like I said, Maker's Bingo. You purchase a card, I send you a card, and you just mark off what you do. I of course would have copies of the cards. And at the completion of a card, this is one way I was thinking. At the completion of a card, Your name would go into the bucket, like I do with my grandkids. I put your name on a popsicle stick and drop it in a box. And my kids reach in. One of them shakes the box up real good, and the other reaches in and pulls out a popsicle stick. And that determines the winner. And what I was thinking about doing, depending on how many I sold, was having, it depends on how many I sell. If I sell, say, I think it was 15, then we'll have one winner. If it's 16 to 25, we'll have two winners, and 25 and above, we'll have three winners. And they will be Visa gift cards. That way you can use them for whatever you wanted to use them for. So they would be essentially cash going to you. But it's like I said, it's simple things like um, scrunchies. It takes what, 30, 45 minutes? Um, and then certain days you would have just a color up there. So let's say you happen to get an order for a hat and scarf set, and that hat and scarf set were black. Then if you have hat, scarf, and black on your card, you can check off all three of those. So I'm looking to do that. I am taking the time now to work on the bingo cards in between crochet stitches. So I just wanted to know, how everybody felt about it. Um, I am going to put a poll up in my post and get the overall opinion. And then I would also like for you all to shoot me some ideas of things that you all would like to see on the cards. I think I did pretty good. I only told you of a few items that I have up there, but I think I did pretty good. There are some things that are kind of challenging because it's only fair, you know, some some little challenges like baskets, like the baskets I make. Hold 3 or 4 strands of yarn together and use a big hook. You can make a small, I think I have like small and medium up here. So I'm not asking you to make huge baskets. I'm not even asking you to make like the trays that I have made. I'm not asking you to do that. Um, Market bags, cotton, bottom sides, drawstring top. Hey sis, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know me, I like giving flowers while people are still here. The new look, compliments of Michelle. Michelle put me in the right direction to do what needed to be done. And I thank her so much. And like I said, if anybody needs any help starting a channel, improving your channel, stepping in the right direction, finding your niche even, um, bettering yourself on these YouTube streets. And her fee is worth every penny you put into it. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. You'll look back and be like, oh my God. It's like you go to this seminar that they tell you it's a free seminar, but in order to get the perks, they tell you it's $1,200 you can make in payments. No, it's not $1,200, but it's like getting $1,200 worth of information. I promise you. I promise you. And mm, y'all pretty much know my situation. I'm striving. Oh my God. It's like struggling from month to month and I'm not monetized, but struggling from month to month to get even rent up sometimes. and to make an investment in me. I mean, y'all, it's worth the time, it's worth the effort, it's worth the information, it's worth everything. I'm telling you, it is. It is. And don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. So, yes, that's where we are with the Makers Bingo, the changes to the channel, the ASL videos, working on those, trying to get those tweaked. I'm going to get those out to you. Like I said, we're now starting into colors and numbers. So, be looking forward to those like very soon. Like very, very, very soon. Hey, Lori. This was one of my other video stars. Lori, I have to tell you, um, thank you so much, Lori, for being here. Lori and Jax, they are on that energy level. When you watch those two, there's no way you can come away from their lives and not feel energized. I mean, they're just like a burst of energy. And one of the videos that stick out to me with Lori was one that she was showing yarns and telling, and bless her heart, she was hopping from yarn to yarn to yarn to yarn. And I was like, I'm keeping up with her. My ADHD mind was actually keeping up with her. But it was so much fun, and she really interacts with her audience. When she asks a question, she will look for the answer. And when the answer comes, she doesn't just brush it off. You know, it's not so much that she doesn't see you or doesn't hear you. I love looking at channels like that. I'm not dissing the channels that have large followings. I'm not. The paranormal group that I'm a part of, I don't even try to say anything in the chats because it's useless. I mean, every time we go in, it's like 1,200 plus people in there. I don't expect to be seen, you know, and it's so massive that I think Dalen has like 15 to 20 moderators, you know, so I love the quaint gatherings where, you know, people can talk to each other and ask questions and get answers, and you can just feel everybody loving on everybody. So, yeah, that's another one to, I'm telling you, I told you before, but I'm telling you again, Lori Stories and Crochet. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, Lori, one of the things that I was telling everybody about, first of all, is that this baby, I didn't tell everybody my ultimate goal. Okay, this is day 5 that I've been working on this. And what I had been doing is a skein a day. This is Temu yarn. And if this is day 5, I should be working on skein 5. But I had the beautiful idea of adding granny squares around the edges. So as I do granny squares, I'm adding them, I'm connecting as I go, and then I'll sew it on. And then there's going to be a border around the outside altogether. I always want to do something different. Always. I can't be regular, not a regular kind of girl. I always got to be different, got to be extra. So my ultimate goal is to be done with this in 7 days. So I have the rest of today, tomorrow, which is Friday, and Saturday. And hopefully I will be mailing it off Monday because I want to throw it in the wash and give it time to lay out flat and dry. And then I will be sending it off to its home. And it's going to be a surprise. So that's it with this. I also talked about the Makers Bingo that I want to have, and what it is. You will pay for it. The bingo cards will be $5 each. Right now, if I get 15 cards sold. It's not going to be right now. I'm thinking about starting this in June. But if I get 15 cards sold, then we'll have one grand prize winner. If I get 16 to 25 sold, we'll have two winners. And over 25, we'll have three. The prize will be um, gift cards, Visa gift cards. That way you can use them wherever. You know, it won't be something that, you know, a yarn that you might be allergic to, or a hook that you really don't like, or um yes, it is. It's going to start in June, Michelle. I have, you know what? Today I forgot that the TV was over there. I've been trying to look around this, share your referral link. I'm trying to read. That thing is, and when you click on it to try to get rid of it, it won't let you. It will not let you. So that's the bingo thing that I have coming up in June. Um, I got a good response from you all, and I thank you. I thank you. Thank you. It gives me something else to work on. Um, and also, um, auctions every second and fourth Saturday. I will be having auctions. So, oh, I didn't tell you how the bingo thing was going to work. You're going to get a card that's going to have things on it like instant gratification things that you can make. There are a couple of like kind of big items, like the Swaddle baby blanket that's 40 by 40. But as you complete the items, you mark them off. Say you get an order for, um, I'll use the example I used already, a hat and scarf in the color of black. Then if you have a card that has hat on it, scarf on it, and the color black on it, then you can mark off all three. The free space in the middle is going to say subscribe to one channel. If you buy, say, 5 cards, then you only have to subscribe to one channel unless you feel so inclined to subscribe to 5 channels. That is really to kind of push us to work together in the crochet or the fiber community, because I'm all about togetherness. So that is, each card is going to have colors on it. So even if you do, say you are an amigurumi professional, Pebbles, hi. You got it? You oh wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ah! I'm so glad you got it. I am so glad that you got it. A little bit about Pebbles. Pebbles, when I had my first auction, she was the person who purchased a market bag from me. But I had already started making something for Pebbles. Is it okay if I reveal it, Pebbles? I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to wait until I get her answer to say. But Lori, that's how the bingo, and Pebbles, that's how the bingo is going to go. Whatever you have on your card or cards, you just simply mark them off. She said it. I'm glad. I made her a basket. In Missy's cottage, when we were doing some bunnies for the people in the Appalachian Mountains, um, people were saying that I'm not really good at amigurumi. I keep dabbling at it because I want to get better. I have grandkids that love it. Everything that I've attempted, they take it, and I'm pleased with that. But I want that to be a part of something that I do. So I keep working with it. Well, everybody started saying they had parts, but they hadn't put them together. And Pebble said one day, send me the parts. And I was like, oh, that is so sweet of her. That is so sweet. So everybody was sending Pebbles parts. So I made her a basket. And on the basket, in the basket, I wrote a little poem that said, um, what did I say? Made with love, made from the heart. Here's a basket for your bunny parts. And then I embroidered bunny parts on the outside of it. So she'd have a basket to put her bunny parts in. So that's what I did for Pebbles. I really, really, really appreciated that. I really, really, appreciated her being the one who ordered something from me. Everybody who's ordered something from me. These last two, that the two items that were auctioned off this past Saturday, Michelle and Lana. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! And it's. I'm super excited, and I'm super excited to see what their reaction to everything is going to be. I really am. So, like I said, we got the bingo coming up. It's going to start in June. Um, you've seen the change to the channel. It's only up from here. It's only going to get better. Um, Pebbles, in case you didn't see, this is my latest project. I can't really work on anything else until I finish this. And I've given myself 7 days to do it. This is day 5, and it's not far from done. It is not far from done. So, as a matter of fact, I just started the granny squares this morning. So, we already have 9 granny squares done. I only have 23 more to do. And I'm connecting them as I go, and I'm attaching them as I go. So, it, and then there's going to be a border around that. And I'm hoping to get all the granny squares up here today. And then the border is where I'll probably be like 10 stitches, 10 stitches. But I know that I'm going to get it done. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about everything that's going on. I I am a firm believer that you don't have to wait until January 1st to start over. You can start over in the next breath. You can. Um, I don't think that we were given the ability to be able to make decisions if it were meant for us to wait until this one day to start everything over, to start diet plans, to start finding this, to start doing this, to change this. Everything can be changed. If you want to make lasting changes, turn them into a habit. Stick notes up. When I first moved into this apartment, it was a blow for me. It was a blow for the family because we came from a 3-bedroom house. Granted, you could sit that house and a half inside this 2-bedroom apartment because the rooms were really small. But that part didn't matter to us because it was home, and the other thing was my mother fought really hard. My mother fought really hard to get that house. And the way we had to move away from it was tear jerking. But I think the change itself, if you don't think that your unhappiness can affect your health, I am living proof that it can. It destroyed me, that my house was sold out from under me. And my first year in this apartment, was the worst health year I have ever had in my life. You guys, I didn't think I was going to make it until the end of the year. It was to the point that at one point, I went to the hospital in sepsis shock. I had two eye surgeries. I had two kidney stone removal surgeries. I had a stent. I had I had three stents implanted. Each one of those was a surgery. So that was seven surgeries. Seven surgeries that I had. And when I went in for sepsis shock, the difference between sepsis shock and septic shock, sepsis shock is when the infection gets into your bloodstream. Septic shock is when it starts messing with your organs. So it had gotten into my bloodstream. And I was hospitalized for 4 days. That particular Saturday, I had I had a telemeeting with my therapist. I remember driving to Fort Eustis, and I remember setting up the phone so we could have our meeting. I don't remember anything else. I don't even remember driving back home. But evidently, I came back home and I got in the bed. I do remember while I was sleeping, I was having crazy dreams. I remember getting up, going to eat, but until my kids told me, I did not remember what I had. I still don't remember, but I know they told me that we had sloppy joes, but I don't remember it. Evidently, after eating, I came up and got right back in the bed. My appointment with my therapist was at 12. It ended at 1. I had been in the bed from 1 to 6. I got up at 8 at 6 and was back in bed by 6:15. So I had slept all day. So untypical for me. So atypical for me. And finally, my daughters came in the room and said, Mom, get up and put your shoes on. I had gone to sleep in my clothes and my jacket. Only thing I took off was my shoes. So I got up and I'm like, okay. They're like, we're taking you to the hospital. That's where I was for 4 days. That's where I was for 4 days. And it was crazy how everything played out. It was scary how everything played out. When it all started, the eye surgeries had been planned. I had cataracts real bad. So they did the right eye first. That was in January. They did the left eye in February. Directly after the cataract removal in February, I came down with a fever. I called my doctor, who was still back in Portsmouth at the time. I go see him, and he says, you have an infection, but I can't pinpoint it. So I'm thinking it was a urinary tract infection. I used to. Having recurring kidney stones, I get a lot of those. And I'm saying, this is what it is. This is what it is. He had me on 3 different antibiotics because it was really bad. Of course, it wasn't the C word. It wasn't strep. It wasn't flu. It wasn't pneumonia. He had checked for everything. It wasn't bronchitis. It wasn't a common cold. It was not any of that. So I had a Z-Pack. I had Keflex, and I had something that began with a C. But he had me on all of those, and he put me on, what is it? Oxycor, whatever that was. And I kind of refused to take those because I don't care for narcotics. I don't I don't care for narcotics at all. I think it was CPRO. I think it was. Thank you, Michelle. Glad you made it. You were speaking truth for real. Our happiness or lack thereof impacts our health. Yes, it does. Oxycodone, that sounds about right. but I wouldn't take them. I wouldn't take them. That bottle just sat there because but I knew something was wrong. And then I started having the flank pain. So I knew it was kidney stones. And I went back to the doctor um, in March. And he goes, we're going to get x rays. And of course, by the time that was supposed to happen, I was back in the hospital with septic shock. So they did the x-rays and everything. It was funny because I'm downstairs in the emergency room where my memory started kicking in. They moved me upstairs to the room, and before I could get off the gurney and into my bed, they were wheeling me straight to surgery. And I'm like, what's what are we doing? And that was when the first stent was placed. The doctor told me then, I think I trusted her because she was a woman. I had never seen her before in my life, but she spoke calmly, and even though this was an emergency procedure, she made me feel at ease. When the urologist came in the room 2 days later, he said to me, I'm going to be the one removing your kidney stone. It's rather large. But then he goes, I think I know you. And I'm like, no. So he said my name. Good for you. You can read. I didn't say that to him. I wanted to, but I didn't. And he said, from Portsmouth, from Maryview. I said, well, the tricky thing about that is that there were 5 Catherine Hodges in Portsmouth. And my urologist was Dr. Golden. Oh, I worked with Dr. Golden. Okay, well, I never saw anybody but Dr. Golden. Maybe you saw me go in the office or something. He goes, no, I treated you. No, you didn't. So when I got out of the hospital, I had to follow up with this man. After he told me he was going to be removing it, he walks in the room and says, oh, now mind you, your kidneys are like this big. I have a kidney stone about that size in there. It was the size of a golf ball. Okay. He says to me, I'm not going to be removing that kidney stone. This is in May. I'm going to refer you to somebody else. You have no idea how busy I am or how I'm called all over the world. I don't. Because I have dealt with kidney stones since the age of 18, I know how dangerous they are. Somebody's going to take this thing out of me. So that was when I met my urologist over in Virginia Beach. Absolutely love him. As soon as he saw me, he says, my next surgical date is in 3 weeks. I will see you at Virginia Beach Memorial. We are going to get this taken care of. He said that if I have anything that comes available earlier, I'm pulling you in. So be by your phone listening for a phone call. We need to get this out right away. June 28th, he took that out. Called me into his office 2 days later. Did outpatient surgery, inserted another stent, and that was to remove all sediment that may have been left. Okay, cool. So I go back in July for my follow up, and he's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have a kidney stone almost the size of the other one in your left kidney. I'm like, no, I didn't want to hear that. No, no, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't. But a month later in August was when he took that out again, go back in his office a couple of days later, get the stent put in so that we can remove any bits that were left. So yeah, that's how that year went, and it was just one thing after another after, oh, I didn't tell you the big part. Oh, you got to know the big part. So after all of this, and I think I'm clear, and I'm finally getting used to this huge apartment that we're in. I go to the hospital October 2nd because I can't urinate. And I'm asking them, please insert a catheter. You know it's bad when you're asking them to catheterize you. Please just do what you got to do because I need the relief. The nurse comes in and does the ultrasound of the bladder. And he's saying, well, the ultrasound is showing that your bladder's empty. I said, I guarantee you, if you insert a catheter, I can prove to you that my bladder's not empty. So he's piddling around, taking his time, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back and he says, well, we don't want to put a catheter in because your bladder is showing. And I pleaded with the doctor. The doctor was on the nurse's side. So I'm calling my urologist. That's why I say about the relationship that you have with your doctors. You need to have that kind of relationship. So I'm like, can you please tell these people that I know when I have to pee? you know? So he's on the phone. He goes, no, what's happening is you're having spasms. They need to give you a catheter now. So hearing him say this is when they finally decided to do it. They had to switch the bag because it was so much urine. And they're like, oh my God, your urine is so dark. And I'm like, probably because it's been here for 3 days. So y'all that I gotta go. Y'all didn't want to. So then the last thing they decided to do before I left the hospital was stick them swabs up my nose. And it came back positive. So I took the year out with the big C. And I think what hurt my feelings more than anything was that my grandson got it too. And we ended up being quarantined together. Um, I was happy to have the time with him. But the worst thing that you can do is, get somebody you love sick, and I was just so happy that I had followed it so much that I heard everybody who said the best way to get through this is to stay active. And even though we were quarantined to the room, we played games. We did the little YouTube things where we were dancing and, we stayed active. And when we felt like we had to sleep, we went to sleep. And I made it through, no problems. The day I was off quarantine, I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. My daughter literally had to bathe me, feed me, clothe me. I didn't have the energy to sit up. All of my energy was gone. And I was like that for 2 weeks. I was the big C free, but it was the after effect. It was the aftermath. And then once I got through that, my anxiety level went through the roof. I had to go to Walmart and I was so bad being around people. I was standing in line and I was sweating and prancing to the point that the cashier looked past everybody and says to me, sweetheart, are you okay? Mind you, it's November now. And I'm like, and I just couldn't take being around people. But all of that, you got my whole history of 2021 just to say that being upset, being hurt, holding on to anger, your mood, period, can affect your health. So when you feel it's time to press that reset button, please don't hesitate to press that reset button. When you see life going to hell in a handbasket, maybe you need to jump into another basket. Maybe one that's attached to a hot air balloon. But it's never too late, wrong time You can start over in a moment. In a moment. You don't have to wait until you can make that decision, and you can start making that change now. And if you like me and Michelle, you take notes about everything. What do you want to do to restructure your life? First of all, how do you want your life to change? What do you want to make better? And if it's 4 or 5 things, prioritize them. What means more to you? I know what stays on my list is better mobility. So every morning I get up and I can tell you how my day is going to be when I stand up. If I have to slide my left leg, it's not going to be a good day, but I'm going to push through. If I can pick it up and limp like I normally do, then I got a chance of just going through a normal day. But every day I push myself a little bit further because ultimately, before I have this surgery, I want to be better off than I am now. Whatever the now is, I want to be better. I want to be better tomorrow than today. I want to be better the next day than tomorrow. And the next day, I want to keep going and keep getting better. And I think that's the focus that everybody needs to have. Put one foot in front of the other. Don't do it to the point that it hurts you, but do it to the point that you feel satisfied, that you've made a change, that you've made a difference, and that you got a little bit further than you did the day before. I used to count stitches, tell myself I wanted to do 1,000,000 stitches a year, and I looked at it and I'm like, I crochet like 2 or 3 million stitches a year. So it's pointless to sit here and count stitches. Maybe I need to count projects. I do this. No. So then I decided to challenge myself, you know, start trying to do some amigurumi. That's your weak point. Do that, you know. And when I have the chance, I'll pick things up and I'll work on it. And I went and got the big bag of fluff so that I could work on it. Just like you said, Lori, little steps. Little steps add up. Little steps add up. They do. The house where we are now is huge in comparison to the house. We had 847 square feet in a 3-bedroom house, bath and a half, 3 bedrooms, kitchen, living room, and what we call the little laundry nook. Here we have 2 bedrooms. Um, there was not a room in the other house that would have taken a king size bed. My first 3 years here, I had a king size bed in here, along with a dresser, along with my yarn wall. I that's what we had here. I could very easily put a mattress in my floor. I could put one in my closet. I could put 3 mattresses in my bathroom. I have an accessible bathroom. My daughter has a huge room. The living room, even though it's open concept, it is huge. It is huge. Our storage closet, washer, dryer, pantry, whatever you want to call that area. It's room to sleep in there. There is room to sleep at least 2 people in our smallest rooms. There's only one space in here, and that's the linen closet. Unless you want to sleep in the fetal position, we wouldn't put anybody in there. But every place else, her closet, my closet, both the bathrooms, the hallway, people could lay there and sleep. It's that huge. So once I got over the fact that the house is gone, but you have room to breathe, you have room to move. And I was blessed to get a floor unit. So I don't have to worry about how I'm getting my scooter up and down stairs or how I'm going to be mobile outside of this space. So I had to change my way of thinking. Not wait till the beginning of the year to change it, but I had to change it right away. So focus on that. Like I said, love on yourselves. Love on yourselves. Love on yourselves. You are beautiful. You are amazing. Go with that. Clear that mirror like I told you. Give yourself that big hug. Oh, and tell yourself how awesome and beautiful you are. I am so happy to have had this hour with you all. To me, it was a good day. I hope it was as good for you all. I have smiled through this. I did not cry. Call that the big girl drops. But I am loving on each and every one of you just as much as I want you to love on yourselves. And always remember to be bold, be brave, be beautiful, and behave. I love you. Until we meet again, peace.